Here we can see a happy family, and it looks like the dad has brought home a toy for his son. He's brought home a little blue duck, a little toy blue duck for his son. So the dad here is holding the blue duck. The son is on the floor playing with his toys, and the mum, is sitting on the sofa, and she is holding a cup, and she is also using a saucer underneath the cup. You see this little plate is called a saucer. So she's got her teacup on top of a saucer as well. So we can see here that actually it's the olden days here. This is in the olden days. How do we know it's in the olden days? How do we know this was from a long time ago? Because the dad is smoking a cigarette. He's smoking next to his son. And so back in the olden days, a long time ago, maybe in the 1950s or the 1960s, back in the olden days, they did not know that smoking was bad for your health. They did not know that it was unhealthy back in the olden days. And that's why the man is smoking next to his child, because he is not aware. He is not aware that smoking is unhealthy, because it's back in the olden days, probably 1950, 1960. And so the dad gives the nice little blue duck toy to his son. But what happens to this blue duck? Let's find the story of the blue duck. The family now are having a picnic. They are having a little picnic. And see, they are sitting outside with a mat with their cups and their plates. They have some tea. They have some food. They are having a picnic in the park. And the dad is leaning. He is leaning back against the tree trunk. So this is the tree trunk. And the tree trunk is a good place to lean back and relax. So the dad is leaning back against the tree trunk, and he's reading the newspaper while he's smoking a cigarette. Because it's back in the olden days, right? And so in the past, in the olden days, newspapers were popular. People don't read newspapers very much today, so only sometimes. But this is back in the olden days. So he's reading the newspaper. The boy is eating a sandwich, and they are having a picnic. Unfortunately, they accidentally leave the blue duck behind. They leave it behind by accident. They forget about it. So they leave it behind next to the tree, and they go home. So what happens to this blue duck? Well, the blue duck stays there in the park for a very long time. Eventually, the blue duck kind of sinks into the ground. Over many years, over 10, 20 years, or whatever, the duck sinks. Gradually it sinks into the ground. See? Very gradually, over time, it sinks down. We can see that a lot of time has passed because a lot of things have changed in this picture. The city has become bigger. More buildings have been built now in this picture. The city has become more modern. It's become much more modern. And the bridge before was a very simple little bridge, but now it has become a big bridge. And there are now trucks and lorries going over this bridge. So it has changed a lot. The city has changed a lot now. And the tree, which used to be here, now there is only a tree stump there. There's only a stump now Right here we can see all that is left is a tree stump because the tree has been cut down. It's been cut down, the tree. So now there is only a tree stump here. So the blue duck sinks into the ground gradually. Many years later, eventually, a dog finds the little blue duck, and we can see the dog is sniffing. He is sniffing the blue duck with his little black nose, and he finds it in the ground. But the dog's owner, who is holding a leash here, he's holding a dog leash in his right hand, sorry. He takes the blue duck off the dog. He takes it out of its mouth and he just throws it away. He just throws it away over his shoulder like this. He does not care, whatever, he just throws it away. So what happens to this little blue duck? Well, eventually it rains, the rain comes, and the blue duck gets washed away. It gets washed away into the streets, and eventually it goes into the drain. You see, it goes down with the water into the drain on the side of the road here, down into the drain, and then it goes from the streets into the drain through the pipes, you know, and eventually, where does it end up? Where does the blue duck end up? Well, it ends up in the sea. That's where it ends up, right? It comes out of this pipe and the blue duck ends up in the sea with all the other rubbish, with all the other trash. It ends up in the sea. And so the blue duck floats. It floats on the sea for a very long time. It floats around on the sea. It does not sink. No, it does not sink down because it is not heavy. It is not heavy. It floats on top of the water for a long time. And eventually, where does it end up? Where does this blue duck end up? Well, it ends up with all the other rubbish, all the other trash. And now we have a kind of a big island, almost an island of trash here now. So the blue duck ends up as a part of the big island of rubbish. One day, a seal comes along. And the seal tries to eat the little blue duck, but the blue duck gets stuck. It gets stuck in the seal's mouth. And so the seal chokes on the blue duck. And unfortunately, the seal dies because of this, because of that little blue duck. So the seal gets washed up on the beach. See, it's dead and it's been washed up on the beach. So now there is a washed up seal lying on the beach now. So the seal has been washed up, and we can see a father and a boy come across this seal, this washed up seal. They are walking along the beach, and then they come across this seal. They are walking, and then, oh, what's that? What's that? They come across a seal which has been washed up on the beach. But the boy, you know, doesn't care very much. And so he drinks his cup, but then he throws that on the ground as well. He throws this pink cup with the straw here. He just throws it on the ground. More trash, more rubbish. And tell me, where do you think this pink cup is going to end up? Where will it end up? What do you think? That's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. See you next time.